What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 14 of the Overthinking Media podcast. I'm your host, Harry. Joined with me this week is Matthew and John.
How did you forget my name?
I didn't forget your name. I was waiting for Matt to say hi.
Oh, hello.
He
Yes.
said on the audio podcast, he said nothing. So this week we're going to be talking about our favourite plot twists in movies, games, TV, and all that kind of good stuff. And the two movies this week, Game Night and Tag. But first things first, what has everyone been doing this week? Watching, playing, all that kind of stuff.
Working. So I haven't got a lot of playing or watching in,
Fantastic.
unfortunately.
So, I started Titans
Yeah.
after the rage of last week. So I've got to episode 6. Well, I've watched episode 6. So
That's for
that's
me.
where, to be honest, I could say his name and it wouldn't know, the people probably wouldn't know who he is if they're not a big comic fan.
Well, his name is the title of the fucking episode.
Yeah.
So
Jason Todd is the title of the episode, so it kind of gives it away.
That's where I was last week.
Yeah, so I've got past episode 6. So I've got a few more episodes to watch. I'm enjoying it.
It's very good.
I'm actually really enjoying it. Brendan Fraser as the robot man, because obviously that's going to be the Doom Patrol series, which will have Cyborg in. That's the one that will have Cyborg in.
But who cares about Cyborg?
Someone will hurt you for that. But I've really enjoyed it. Other than that, what have I watched? I haven't watched any Dragon Ball Super this week. Though.
Wow. You haven't watched any Dragon Ball Super?
No, I haven't watched any Dragon Ball Super
You
this
haven't
week,
subjected Kate to it?
Well, no, because I've ordered parts 4, 5 and 6.
Right.
So I wanted to wait for those to turn up before I carried on. So I had
Are you all right?
Are you
a
feeling
busy
okay?
week, and to be honest, the game that I've played this week, it's only been one game, really.
Was it Ark?
It was Ark. Because, that sucked. Well, that destroyed my Saturday.
Saturday?
Was it Saturday? No, it was Sunday that we played it.
Was
Pretty
it?
much all
Bloody
day,
hell,
yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it was Sunday. So I got in around about 2 o'clock. You immediately sent me a party invite. And, we ended at 10 o'clock. So 2 till 10 we played. And then I've been playing a bit of PlayerUnknown Battleground because the new map came out today.
Right.
That was a 20 gig update. So I
Only
just
map?
set that off.
Big map, or
It's a snow map. So it is going to change.
that's,
It is going to change because
So
you're
is
going
it
to be able to see people from far, far away now.
is it a big map? No,
I
it's a
don't
snow
know. I
map.
haven't been in. I have no idea if it's a big map or a small map or
Well,
a medium map.
it's going to be a similar size to the original map.
I'd assume it is.
Well, my assumption is going to have mountains and crap and all that kind of.
Yeah.
You say you're going to be able to see people, but I guarantee you, when they're in the middle of buildings and stuff,
You can't see them.
I definitely can't see them.
Well, no,
because I can't see
you
crap,
seem
but-
to have the ability to spot people. You don't. That's it. You don't have the ability to spot people.
You seem to
Yeah,
have
you're right.
the ability to stop people. but
You
don't.
I'm tired. I only finished work half hour ago. I'm just tired.
Wow, fantastic.
But I'm just trying to think. I haven't really watched anything else this week. I think I did try and start a film, but I didn't
Good
finish
grief.
it. It's just been literally Ark, PUBG, movies of the week, which obviously there were 2. So that's obviously 2 evenings.
What I'm hearing is no one's actually done anything this week.
We have done a lot in Ark.
I've just played. Like, I didn't realise what had happened, but I just played Kingdom Hearts for 10 hours. The first one. I woke up today, started playing Kingdom Hearts, and then next thing I know, John's knocking the door at 6 o'clock. I'm like, what? I've nearly finished it in a day. I'm near the end, and it's been a complete waste of it. It's been a good day. It's been a waste of a day. But it's playing Kingdom Hearts. That's not so. It's a game I haven't played in years. That's not so bad. So yeah, fantastic. Everyone's been really busy doing absolutely nothing. Fantastic. So
I was actually trying to remember what I've done, and I haven't even played, like, normally, it's all the multiplayer games that have come out, so it's taken away from the single player element.
That's what it's like when you get old, though.
Yeah.
Like, you have no time to...
Like, I do have one thing, because I did play Dragon Ball Fighter Z, and I have a really big problem with that game. It doesn't have an autosave function. So a game this year, so I basically got invited to a party with you.
Yeah.
And I was doing the story.
Oh, right, yeah.
So I went, okay. I've just done a major thing in the story. This has just happened. And I'm halfway through the first arc, because it's Dragon Ball, they have arcs. And I'm like, okay, load it back up and go, where are all the characters I unlocked?
Oh,
And I'm like, and it says you are at story progression 25%. When I left the game, I was at 67%. So I was like, and it's also you have to press the text to go through the story.
Oh,
So it's a constant pressing of A. So then I have to go through the story again. It's
Well,
like,
we know what you like about pressing with A. Pressing A.
So I've been playing Kingdom Hearts, which is like a PS2, and I'm playing it on the original PS2, not the 1.5 remix or anything like that. So I don't know if those are different. But the save system in that is you have to go to a specific circly save point in a room
And save.
manually save
Like the
it.
good old Final Fantasies.
Yeah, well, obviously it's exactly like that, and it is. I didn't realize how much I have got used to just when I'm finished. When I'm finished playing my game, I'll just switch it off.
Yeah.
It's reminding me back when my dad would come in the room and be like, "You've been playing PlayStation all night. Turn it off." And I'm like, "Yeah, let me get to a save point." He's like, "No, turn it off now." And I'm like, "But just let me get to a save point." He's like, "No, it's just an excuse to play more games." And I'm like, "No, it's an excuse to not have to do all this again." And like, I understand why people. And nowadays, that's just probably not a problem for kids. They just switch it off.
They don't understand that problem.
Right. So plot twists. This. I thought I was really clever picking this one, and then when I actually came to work out which ones were there, I struggled.
Yeah, I bet
there
you
are
did.
So many good ones. So John, kick us off. Before we spoil anything for anyone, we'll start off by saying the name of the show or the game or the movie that we're on about, so that if you hear something that you want to watch and not have spoiled now, then you can skip like 5 minutes ahead and you'll miss it. So John.
So I did a little bit of looking because I was trying to remember. Like, there's the obvious ones. There are obvious films of plot twists, and I was just like, what are ones that are my favourite?
That was what the question was, John.
So the obviously main one and probably the biggest one of its time was Star Wars: The Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah.
So
hopefully most people have seen
that. It is a very well-known plot twist. Obviously, back then it was a major shock to the characters.
Yeah, for now, if you did that plot twist in any other movie nowadays, everyone would just groan.
Everyone would just like, they're doing the Star Wars thing.
Thanos is like, "Tony, I am your father." Everyone would groan.
So for anyone that doesn't know, it is Darth Vader is Anakin Skywalker and he is Luke Skywalker's father. Shocking. Obviously, those that obviously have watched probably there's going to be a generation of people that have watched episode 1, 2, 3, then the original trilogy. There are going to be
there will be a generation that
will have watched them in order. So that shock wouldn't have had any value.
Yeah.
But I think because I would have watched it on VHS when I was probably.
The special edition ones that came out in those gold and silver cases.
With the golden and Darth Vader. Yeah.
Those are like the official versions of the movie now, and the original ones don't.
Yeah, because they were the remastered ones where basically George. It is George. Yeah, George Lucas. What the hell happened then?
George Clooney.
I think George Lucas went back and did loads of remastering, like Jabba the Hutt in the original take of New Hope was a person. Which I never knew, but if you watch the VHS right to the end, it has a making of, which is really nice.
When those movies were coming out, that was like there was just documentaries and makings of leading up to those films coming out, and that was like the big. They kept showing you how they did that, like over and over and over and over again.
But so the way they built it up, like first of all, you got Obi-Wan Kenobi, and now knowing. The prequels do add a lot of depth and a lot. You see these videos now on like YouTube and everything where people have added the scenes in, like where Obi-Wan's talking to Luke back on Tatooine and he gives him his father's lightsaber. Yeah. They've added memories like Obi-Wan's having flashbacks to the Clone Wars and his relationship with Anakin because you can see him thinking as he's doing. And a young pupil of mine, Darth Vader. Betrayed and killed Anakin Skywalker, and it's like you can see him thinking, "How am I selling this?"
Yeah.
And then when the reveal happens, it's great. There is the expanded Star Wars universe where they show how Darth Vader learned. They've gone back and like in the scrolling of the text at the start of the film, they do allude to it that Vader has learned Luke's name. he has learned that a Skywalker is the reason that Death Watch Star. They don't reveal anything further than that, just that he knows the pilot's name, and now he's on a mad hunt to find him.
Yeah.
But in the comics, there's a great scene, because Boba Fett goes and gets the name for him, and he challenges Boba Fett as a fight with Luke. And he comes back, and he walks into, and it's in the Marvel Star Wars comics, and he walks into, like, Vader's viewing platform, like that is in most of the Star Destroyers. And he goes, were you successful? And he went, no, he's a very untrained but very skilled Jedi, or
apprentice Jedi.
and he says, I did get the name, however. And the next panel is, what was the name? And he just says, Skywalker. And he goes, that'll be all, leave. And as Boba Fett's leaving, you just see the glass where his fist tighten, and the glass shatter on the observation room. And it's just, even though it's a comic, you feel like that's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And it shows the power of Vader, similar to Rogue One, where Vader was a badass.
That scene is just incredible.
That's another plot. I wouldn't say a plot.
That's just
twist.
a surprise. It's like it's kind of a cameo because he's
the fact that it leads straight into A New Hope is a great plot twist, surprise ending. But Star Wars always do that kind of thing. They haven't had a major. I don't think they've really had a major spoiler, unless people were very dim and didn't know that Palpatine was Darth Sidious. Then
I mean, it was on the first time.
Obvious,
first time, even as a kid, I saw Episode 1. I was like,
I think it was because they
that guy
refilmed it.
looks like the Emperor.
Yeah, they refilmed it, didn't they?
Yeah.
They changed the actor in Return of the Jedi, and they asked him to come back as an old man. So yeah, but that's my favourite all time. That when you think of a plot twist, that comes off the top of my head. There are others, but you'll probably mention them.
Cracker?
Yeah, thinking of plot twists, I had to think about which one I was going to pick. And Shutter Island.
You little son of a bitch! That was the one I was going to pick. And I was just bringing up the info. You son of a bitch!
Never watched it.
Have you not watched it?
No. Oh my life!
Mate.
Oh.
I have, because we were talking about plot twists in the office today. Because I said I was coming to do this, and we were like, "What plot twists?" And I've heard what the plot twist
of that
movie is.
Good, okay.
Because when someone said Leonardo DiCaprio film to me, I went, "Do you mean what's the one where he's asleep?" Inception. That's not really
the one where he's asleep.
I've not seen that one either.
You've not seen Inception?
No.
Have you? Which movies of his have you seen?
So
have you seen Island?
John doesn't.
I've seen Island.
Oh,
I love
well,
Island.
there we go.
The Island.
The Island with Leonardo DiCaprio.
That's not even a good Leonardo.
No, that's not even a good one.
No. Gee, right.
Okay.
Right. Okay.
I've seen loads of Leonardo DiCaprio films. He has made a lot of films.
He has made a lot of films.
But the thing with Leonardo DiCaprio is he makes very fucking long films.
So it doesn't mean they're not good.
My wife wouldn't go to see the flipping Bohemian Rhapsody because it was that long and it was a biopic.
It was like an hour and a half.
Yeah, it wasn't that
it's
long.
It's not even long.
No,
I'm still bitter.
If a film's
can
good,
tell.
it doesn't matter how long it is because
it will
not
keep
aware.
your attention and it will keep you. Yeah,
I am all for that. Like, yeah.
Anyway,
right, Shutter Island.
Shutter Island. Right. So, for those of you who haven't seen it, it's Leonardo DiCaprio on an island, surprisingly, and he's brought there and he is living out the dreams of. He's a detective, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's living out the dreams of a detective and trying to find.
He plays a detective, doesn't he? Like, it's set up like he's a detective who goes to this mental institute on an island to investigate a woman who killed her kids.
Yes, that's it. It's been a long time since I've actually seen it.
I was going to pick it, so I made sure I knew what it was doing.
So yeah, he's on this island. He's searching around. He's trying to find out, and then things start happening. And things just don't start to add up in this film. There's lots of parts. Harry's actually probably got it up on his screen at the moment, so I can tell you exactly.
He's probably deleted it because he stopped it.
yeah, exactly. And the plot twist comes towards the end, where he's not on that island looking for this woman. He is on the island as an inmate. Yeah. He's a patient on the island, a mental health patient, and this whole thing is just built up because he's creating this imaginary world.
So essentially, that is like, obviously I've not seen it. That is like, Harry will probably know this one. The Buffy the Vampire Slayer episode where she's in a mental asylum and the whole world of Buffy they're saying that she's insane and she's made it up. Similar to that?
Based on how this movie ends, absolutely not.
Oh,
no. It has one of the greatest movie quotes of all time, actually, that I think is one of the best. Because he finds out that... Carry on.
Yeah, it just comes out that he's an inpatient in this island mental health facility, and it is such an amazing twist. You do see kind of maybe a little bit see it coming, but at the same time it is fantastic. The whole film itself leading up to this is just brilliant, fantastically filmed, and it is a watch, and I do recommend you watch it, John, even if you know the twist.
Yeah, I think it's one of those films where when you watch it the second time round, or knowing the twist, you can pick up on
see the little bits,
the little clues. That
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because at the end of that film, where he's like, it's been revealed to him that actually you're a patient.
Yeah.
And it's like, it turns out he's the one who killed his kids. So that it wasn't some woman who killed her kids; it was him who killed his own kids. And,
that's it, because they were doing flashbacks of the house and the kids, if I remember rightly.
And they kind of give him the option of carry on staying at the mental hospital, going through all this experimental treatment, or to get lobotomized. And in the end, he kind of has this line where he's like, where they think he's that insane that he chooses to be lobotomized. But then at the end, he kind of has this line that says, "Is it better to live as a monster or to die as a good man?"
Yep.
Meaning that he's willingly getting himself lobotomized to forget what he did.
Yeah,
and almost like to him, he's killing himself because
he's just killing his mind off, isn't he? So
yeah, just what a mind blowing film that one. Really good,
really good film.
So I've had to frantically look for a new one.
Sorry,
and I think the one that the two that I found, one of them I'm going to attempt to pick for a movie of the week one week because it's such a good film, and it's quite an old one as well. It's like from the 50s.
All right.
And it's a very, 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 very good film, so I'll probably save it for something different. So what I'll talk about is, have you seen Old Boy?
Yeah. That's on my list, because I've got about 5 or 6 that I've picked.
I don't think I have
Old
seen
Boy.
Right.
So there's 2 versions of Old Boy.
Okay, so I'm talking about the original version,
Yeah.
and I get the joy of explaining this to Cracker and seeing his face. So Old Boy is about this chap who...
Old.
Not actually. He gets kidnapped by somebody he doesn't know, and he gets locked in a room, and he has to and he gets forced to live in this room for like 20 years, 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
And he doesn't have an idea who's kidnapped him. He doesn't have any idea why he's there. All they do is they feed him, and he's got this TV.
Okay.
He watches TV, and he keeps getting shown like news cuttings of his daughter becoming a well-known violinist. and he's also he self-teaches himself martial arts as well, because it's a martial arts film, and that's how they explain him learning martial arts. But eventually they let him out,
right?
And he kind of goes on this kind of find out who kidnapped him. At the same time, he meets this girl who owns a kind of sushi shop as well, and she kind of goes along for the adventure with him. They fall in love. They bang and all that kind of stuff. And as he comes to find the main villain, finds out that the main villain wanted to get revenge on the main character.
Yeah.
Because the main character, when they were kids in high school, saw the villain sleeping with his sister, and then spread the rumor around school and kind of ruin their lives, causing the sister to kill herself. So he's like, I wanted to get my own back and do something horrible to you. So the twist comes at the end when he meets the villain, and he's like, the villain shows him his daughter in this room. Or I might be thinking of the most recent one, but either way, he sees his daughter and finds out this girl he thought was his daughter.
Yeah,
is actually an actor that was employed to play his daughter. And his actual daughter is the girl he met in the sushi shop, who they both and the entire thing was constructed by the villain to make him sleep with his own daughter. And then, like, so, and he's like, and the way I'm going to get you back is by telling your daughter who you are and who you both are. And the main character ends up cutting his own tongue out to kind of prove that, look, I'm never going to say anything again if you don't tell my daughter because I don't want to ruin her life. So then he cuts his own tongue out. His daughter doesn't find out what happened and that she actually slept with her dad. And then they carry on their lives together. She's in love with him. He knows
His daughter, yeah.
it's his daughter, and you don't see what happens afterwards. It's just man.
So yeah. So I was on holiday in Ireland. So I was watching the film with my dad.
No.
My dad went to bed because it was quite a long film, but I was watching the American remake, which had Josh Brolin playing the old boy, and Scarlet Witch, Elizabeth Olsen. So it's very weird now, playing the lady.
Yeah,
and it was all right. The film was going on, and Elizabeth also gets a kit off and all that kind of thing, and then
priorities.
So how it is in the American thing is the guy was very weird, and it unravels exactly the same. But there's something. He's basically he puts up cameras of them. He recorded them and literally as he's telling him, basically, you fucked your daughter.
Watching it happen.
Yeah.
So he doesn't cut his tongue out in this one.
No. The American one toned down the violence because in the Korean one, there's that scene where he eats a live octopus. For real, not octopus or a squid. He eats his squid, and you can see like the tentacles of it like slapping against his face, and like it's grim. But and that's not like a torture or horror scene. He just is like
he's just eating a lot.
That's what he eats at the sushi restaurant. That was scarier than if he was forced to eat it like, as a torture.
But I had no idea it was coming. Literally, I had an inkling just before he told. Yeah. So I was like, oh no. They're not going to have done that in a fit.
I was so
and
shocked.
I actually felt sick.
Yep.
I was kind of like, because it was on, it started about 10 o'clock. So this was finishing about 12:30, midnight. And there I am, sat alone, thinking, why didn't I go to bed? Because my dad had watched probably the better part of the film.
Yeah.
Because he'd watched all the action. He'd gone to bed before they'd done the deed and everything. So he just watched an action movie with the guy who hadn't fulfilled his revenge. And I was just like...
How do you explain that?
And I went, Dad, don't watch the end of that film.
you explain the end of it to him, and he's like, you're lying. Because that wasn't... Because the film...
I told him, and he was just like, kind of glad I didn't watch the end of it now. But,
the American one's not so good. The Korean one is very good, but I think once you've seen it once,
you're
like, I'm good.
I'm good. I wouldn't watch it again.
John.
There are very well-known plot twists, but we have talked about them on the podcast before, so I'm not going to go into those once again, but I'll just say Fight Club, that was a major plot twist one, but again, that suffers from the same situation. You won't get the same joy of watching that again. Yeah. Obviously, you got a different kind of feeling when you watched Old Boy, but you won't get the same shock value with... but I'm going to go with Gone Girl.
Oh, that was also on my list.
Because it was one of these films that I was like, I have no interest in watching it, to be honest.
Somebody kept hammering on at him to watch it.
And you went, watch Gone Girl. And then I watched Gone Girl, and I immediately looked at my wife and felt a little bit like, I'm just going to go over here away from you for the moment.
It just makes you look at the person.
But it was like, because it had several plot twists in it, I would say.
Yeah,
so
it's a movie that escalates.
Yeah. So originally it starts out like his wife's disappeared, and people think he's murdered her.
And it's just one of those classic missing person movies.
It's a missing person movie, and then it kind of turns into a little bit of a Bunny Boiler situation as well.
Little bit.
So poor Neil Patrick Harris, but you're showing her escaping a relationship, which isn't an abusive relationship. He's just decided he started cheating on her.
Yeah.
So he isn't horrible to her in any way. He's just... And
she's fucked up, though.
She is completely and utterly fucked up.
Like, not in any way that their relationship has done.
But he's going to trial or something, and they're investigating him, and something happens where it switches to her story. Yeah, it happens in the garage. So they get a tip that there's loads of stuff in his sister's garage.
Yeah.
So they arrest... Because basically they'd said, oh, you've got loads of credit card debt. Well, I've never bought any of this. Do you see it anywhere in my house? Which is like one of those little niggly things saying she must have had credit card debt. And someone's obviously come after her or something. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
But then as they discover this stuff, I'm just trying to remember it, they cut to her and she's gone away.
Out of nowhere.
Yeah, so she's got this wig on.
This missing person you believe is dead. All of a sudden, boom, she's alive. And it was like, and she's happy as...
she's... quite happy. She's going around, she's doing the shopping, and she's setting up some plans because she's very intelligent. But then she basically, because she's carrying everything in cash, she gets mugged by a couple of rednecks, which then causes her to go and see Neil Patrick Harris, who is a guy that's been obsessed with her for years. And then it kind of turns into a little bit of, she's been kidnapped by Neil Patrick Harris because he's said he's obviously a little bit of a bad guy because he knows she's alive, yet he's going to let her husband go down for her murder because she's saying that he's abusing him. But again, abusing is a little bit different than actually killing, so she should come forward, blah, blah, blah. But he doesn't. But he locks her in this house. And then she puts together this plan. You don't know what she's doing. You think she's just going to escape. And then the champagne bottle comes out.
So, have you seen this?
I have. It's been a long time ago, but I have seen this.
So it escalates from her putting together this well-rounded plan to get away from her husband to her then murdering Neil Patrick Harris whilst they're having sex, and then
framing him for raping her
in quite possibly the most psychotic way. And then obviously
going back to her husband, in which they both know that he knows that she was alive.
Yeah.
He figured out quite early on that she was alive and that she was a psycho. And then he also knows that she's done something. She doesn't quite know, but he suspects that she... And they just start doing this whole family routine. But it's like the creepiness that he doesn't sleep. And he's like literally watching the door as he goes to bed, and she comes to tuck him in. He's kind of like, get out my room.
Because they find this kind of like, oh, we've got all this media attention and all this kind of stuff. So it's like, well, like instead of her, she's like, I won't reveal what you did to me. He smacks her head against the back of a wall at the very end, doesn't he? Like he loses it with her a little bit at the very end, and he takes it that one step too far. That now that all she has to do is say, "Oh, you're abusing me," in front, and because they're on national TV a lot now. They're quite a famous couple now because
of everything that happened. Yeah, it's America.
Yeah, so he takes that one step too far. And she's like, well, now all I have to do is tell everyone what you did. So you now have to stay with me and do everything I say, and we have to have this fake relationship.
It ends on a bit of a weird feeling.
It shows you the exact same. It shows you the opening scene, doesn't it, where she's got a head on him. And she looks at him, and she's got this kind of evil look on her face.
Yeah, and Ben Affleck's doing a monologue. She's doing a monologue. I can't remember. If I cracked open your head, would I find all these secrets? And she's looking at him with this doe-eyed look, and it's absolutely terrifying.
Yeah.
I was literally like, bitches be crazy. Bitches be definitely crazy.
Because you watching it, it really makes you question, do you really know the person that you are with?
Yeah.
Yes. And then you immediately go, no, I don't want to know, and I'm going to forget about it and just live life naively because it's easier that way.
Most certainly.
But, that was... it's a plot twist, and it's a surprise. It was full of surprises and very well... It was a good book. Film. And Kate read the book, and she says the book's a bit more intense.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really enjoyed that film. The surprises kept coming. Literally, that I didn't realise that it was a nearly 2.5 hour long film.
What is it with you and long films?
It doesn't matter because that film...
No, I didn't realise it was.
Yes. That film just grips you, and then you are just stuck. You cannot take your eyes off the TV.
No, it was literally like a train wreck. I'm like, what am I watching? I must watch it.
I can't take my eyes off it.
I love movies like that. Cracker?
Right, I'm going to go with a bit of a classic one, same as John's first one.
Oh, please don't say the one that I'm thinking of.
Oh, what do you?
No, say it.
Sixth Sense.
Oh, no, we're fine.
That's fine.
Okay.
Really?
Sixth Sense is.
If you haven't watched it,
If you haven't heard about it,
yeah, exactly. It's one of those ones that
Bruce
most
Willis
people,
is his father. No.
most people have seen it by now, and it's a great film. I haven't revisited it for a while.
Is it M Night?
Yep.
Yeah,
Is it M Night Shyamalan?
It was the one that put him on the map.
Was it?
It's the first one that made him proper famous.
But it is a brilliant film. Bruce Willis, just to let you down if you haven't seen it, is not running around with guns and shooting people. So it's a brilliant film. Camera
Want
work.
to say brilliant film one more time?
I
I have to admit, when I first watched that film, I would have been about 12 or 13, and I was watching it with my mom, and the reveal happens. My mom's like, "Oh my god! Oh my god! What? I can't believe it!" I'm like, they're going, "What?" I didn't get it. It went right over my head. I missed it.
Yeah, I think you had to be a bit older to get it.
It must have been the first film I'd ever seen that had
That's
quite
twist.
in-depth. Because at that time I was probably watching like Alien and Predator and action films, and probably the first film I ever watched that had a kind of a twist or a plot kind of thing like that. And I was like, I don't what's happening? She's like, he's dead, and I'm like, no, he's not.
He's
Do you know what I
there.
mean?
He's
He's
on
right
the
there.
screen. He's
Yeah,
talking.
yeah.
He's talking to this kid.
Yeah, no, I missed it.
I think I can't remember the first time I watched it. I think I didn't obviously go to see it at the cinema. It would have been a TV situation. I don't think I knew what I was really watching. Because again, I would have been younger than you when I saw it.
Yes, because we're both younger than you.
But again, it's a great plot twist. But I don't think it had the same impact on me that it would do if I saw it for the first time now without knowing. I think that the whole reception to the film back then, I think I got told after I watched it that he's a ghost, and I was kind of like, oh, similar to Harry. I was like, oh, okay. I think something, but again, and it was like, so I kind of got told, and it was just a dawn of realization, but I don't think I had the initial feeling of, oh my fuck.
Blown away. Yeah, I think maybe I was.
Because we'd all been quite young when we first watched it, and it is one of those films that you can't go back and really rewatch once you know.
Never watched it again.
Never know the ending.
You can probably pick up on it is interesting actually if you do watch it back. Bruce Willis doesn't talk to another person.
Yeah.
They walk around that funeral and not a single
person looks at him.
Yeah.
They don't look at him. They don't talk to him. At all.
Which I think is amazing. But yeah,
just when you first watch it, you don't pick that up. No, you don't see those little things like the people not talking to them. Not even really looking in his general direction. It's only the kid that is paying him lip service. Really, he's talking to him.
Like watching something again with hindsight is like like Shut Up and Dance. Watching that with hindsight, is really good. But I'm not,
let's not go into that one.
Going to be my next one is going to be a game.
Okay.
Which I didn't realise it was backwards compatible, so I was going to choose it, thinking no one will really get to play now. But it's backwards compatible. But then, so it's a game called Spec Ops: The Line. Have you heard of it?
I have heard of it because it's a Spec Ops game, but I haven't actually played it.
So the problem with this game was it was marketed at. The problem with the game is the plot and the narrative is so clever and the twist is so clever. To not ruin it, none of it was in the marketing. So how different this game wasn't in the marketing. So this game, you play like a special forces trio, a bit like and it's a bit like Gears of War third person.
Over the shoulder.
Yeah, and you play through, like, Dubai is, like, obliterated by a sandstorm, so you can do clever things with sand, and you play these free men, and you play as the leader of the squad.
Yeah.
Trying to find their old squad leader, and their old squad leader has gone rogue and is, terrorising what civilians are left. And it leads you up to a point in this game that was marketed, it just looked like another Call of Duty, so no one bought it or anything. Yeah. And it leads you up to this point where you think you've got an enemy installation kind of, on radar, and you decide we're going to drop white phosphorus on them. So you have this mini game where you're looking from a bomber runner's camera.
Yeah,
all
dropping the phosphorus.
all these heat signatures, and you drop in white phosphorus. And white phosphorus is something that you drop on people, and it just instantly burns them.
Burns them to death. Yeah.
Burns them in place like they've been hit by a volcano. And then you walk through that area and discover that you've just laid waste to 47 women and children. And like you see like a woman holding a baby, and they're all just half burned. And you've just mowed down 47 women and children with burning hot phosphorus, like just the worst painful death ever. And then you carry on kind of through the game, realizing that the main character that affects the main character point where he starts going a bit, gets a bit irrational, and the two squad mates are constantly arguing between each other about you in a way that as if you're almost not there. Like
yeah.
And then when you get to the end, you get to where you've been following this radio signal to the leader. It's this
the rogue leader. Yeah.
The rogue leader. You find him in a chair. You spin the chair around. It turns out he shot himself what looks like a year ago, and actually all the bad stuff was you. So there's you then flash back to cutscenes where your main character had gone mad and was doing it all on purpose, and the two squad mates were arguing because they weren't sure if they should be following your orders or not. So they're following your orders, but they're feeling guilty about it. So you get all the way to the end of this game and find out all of the, and there's a lot of it's got those decision trees where you can either go left or right, or you can kill or save, and you find out that everything you did was all you playing the villain who's gone crazy, and in his head, a bit like the way Thanos works, where in his head he's justified, and the way he justifies it to himself is what you see and do.
Yeah.
When in reality you've killed 47 people, you've tortured a bunch of innocent people, and you've ended up kind of, murdering a lot of innocent people without, all the people you're fighting against aren't rogue soldiers. They're the military coming to try and stop you and save people, and you're just mowing them down. Phenomenal game. It kept all of that stuff out of the marketing. So there was all the marketing. There was nothing different about it. It just looked like another modern shooter, and everyone was just like, "Nah, we'll pass." And so it's gone down as acclaimed for having a great story that no one really got to play.
That sounds really good.
But then, talking of twists, we had two movies this week.
Well,
one of which had a twist.
Just on plot twist, I know you wanted to move on, but we didn't talk about TVs. And
every week,
I know
we haven't talked about TV.
It says plot twist for TV and film.
I gave you two.
You
had two.
Okay, I want to talk about Breaking Bad then.
Okay, don't. Okay. Pick it for another week. Tuesday. Right. Talk about it another week. Christ. So this week we had two movies as picked by John, two kind of similar in comical tone. I think that's how they kind of were similar.
Yeah.
One was Game Night, which we'll talk about first, and next it had a plot twist, and the other one was Tag. So Game Night. Did you like it? Dislike it? What do you think? I know one of you didn't watch it.
Yes, I did not, because unfortunately both of them were not available on any sort of streaming sites that I
were. Sky Now.
That's not that. When we've got Netflix and Amazon, we're not going to pay for fucking Sky, are we?
Yeah. So I had to pay for one of them, and I chose the other movie.
I did watch Game Night on Sky. I've just realised now. Yes, I had to rent Tag and watch Game Night on Sky. Yeah.
Okay. But Game Night. I picked it, but I really, really enjoyed it. I didn't think it was going to be a film that I would like when I initially watched it.
It comes across like a background movie comedy that you just have on.
And then it develops into the worst night possible for a game night situation. But it was just a fun film because you've obviously got this guy who's doing well. He's got a nice wife, nice house and everything, and they have this nice close group of friends that come round every week, and they like coming round because they like the game nights. But then there's his brother, which everyone seems to like because he's
the better brother.
I was just realising what you just said.
I was watching the film thinking, this is John and Ben. This is John and Ben. It's John and Ben, yeah.
Yeah, but then it turns out the brother is actually a dick.
It doesn't turn out the brother's actually a dick. The brother's just into some illegal stuff. However, you make the reference to John and Ben, and now the brother's a dick.
My brother's not a dick. But it was just a fun thing, and the whole next door neighbour element
Jesse
of it.
Plemons, yeah.
Was just great. I felt really sorry for him as well.
But then you can understand
why.
Yeah.
He is crazy, and that poor dog. That poor dog.
Yeah, I think so. For me, I found this film a bit. I watched this film after Tag, so I watched Tag one night, and then I watched Game Night the other night. And I think because of doing it in that order, I found Game Night got very convoluted. If it had ended, so it turns out. So if you've not seen it, the group they have game nights.
Game nights, yeah,
we do, and then the better brother comes over and he says, "I'm going to hold a game night." He holds a game night in which they do one of those kind of murder mystery. One of your party gets kidnapped. You've got to find them following the clues. They've got actors and stuff. And in the midst of all that, the brother actually gets kidnapped by some actual terrorists.
Yeah.
And but the people playing the game don't think it's all just a very well acted game. They go looking for him, and in the end, it turns out that it was the next door neighbour who doesn't get invited anymore because he's a bit weird. He kind of constructed the whole thing to show them how good he is at game night, and that he should be invited back. which up until that point I was like, yeah, cool, that's actually quite interesting. And then it turns out there are actually bad guys, and it adds another layer on that turns it into this kind of action movie, and that's where I lost it.
Dexter.
Dexter. That's where I lost it, because it then just turned into like the clever twist was almost pointless. It just turned into, oh right, so this thing we thought was happening wasn't happening. That's interesting. Oh no, it is actually happening. And then these like, you know, rich criminals with all these machine guns can't outfight technically us. Do you know what I mean? With no training, you know, it just at the end just turns into kind of the same old over the top kind of. It goes a bit too far. It had a clever kind of cut off point, but then just added on too much.
Yeah, I will say I enjoyed the plot twist, obviously, with regard. I can't remember the police guy's name.
I enjoyed the movie right up until just after that point. And then
okay.
And it wasn't, and I, like I said, I'm saying this after having watched Tag the night before, because I've seen Game Night before. I'd seen Game Night before, and I enjoyed it the first time round. But then I watched this one in comparison to Tag.
Yeah, I will say I enjoyed Tag far more.
That's why I left it to last.
Yeah, I when I watched Tag, because I watched Tag last night,
right,
and I left. I was like. I know why I picked this film. I should have picked this as the sole one because it just it made me feel happy.
I think the cast of Game Night is a bit weak. The two main characters, Jason Bateman, no,
was Rachel McAdams. Yeah, it's Jason.
Bateman. Yeah. Sounds like a murderer from. Anyway, them pair are great, particularly the entire sequence from when she picks up this gun. She picks up this real gun. The entire sequence from her picking it up to them being sat on that car trying to sort out his bullet wound. Brilliant. That where she's like waving it around and she chucks it to him and he's holding it and he's like, "Don't make me use it." He's holding it like a like a hammer or something, because they think it's all fake. And then she's like telling him to get down on the ground, put your hands in the air, put your head on the ground. I'm like, how do we do that? And then she's got them doing yoga. These like real criminals, and she's just messing around thinking they're actors. Up until her shooting him in the arm, going to a mall and like trying to get like, you know. She tries to do surgery on him. She's there cutting him open. They're both there throwing up. And then it turns out there's an exit wound and she's been cutting him open. Loved it. And then I think from there, it then tailed off where they start. I think some of the characters trying to cheat.
Yeah, there's different versions of cheating. So there's the guy that brings a different girl to every game night. Mm-hmm. And then he brings an old... He brings
an older British lady, which is actually Irish. And she hasn't... Yeah.
Yeah, but... Well, she's a great actress anyway. She's in loads of stuff. But now, there's a little story in between where he actually starts liking her. He's just brought her as a partner for game night. So he wins. Because he never wins a game night because he always brings basically bimbos.
Yeah, Instagram models,
Instagram models. And then there's the whole dynamic of the other married couple. In regards to her sleeping with a celebrity, because they played a bit of... Did they play a drinking game where that came out?
They played Never Have I Ever.
Yeah. And it's a whole running gag for the film. Like, did she? Who is it? And I can't remember who it was at the end.
So it turns out that she was like, oh, it was Denzel Washington. I slept with Denzel Washington. And then she explains the story. You get a flashback of her meeting this guy. meeting Denzel Washington,
It's
going to a
not.
bar for me. It's not Denzel Washington. It's just a lookalike.
And not a really good, not a very good lookalike.
Oh no, it was a
either.
very good lookalike. Because I was watching thinking, is that actually Denzel? And it's not. You can, when you get really close to the face, you can tell it's not. Yeah, so she thought she'd slept with Denzel Washington, and she hadn't. Which was fun. That was a bit of a distraction away from what was actually going on. That's what I disliked about this film. That they had too much
going on.
There was 3 couples, and those 3 couples were off all doing 3 separate things, and it was bouncing around, and all 3 of them had separate motivations and separate stories.
Yeah.
We're tagging, it was all one group, one story, and that's why I liked it a bit more.
Shall we just talk about Tag?
What a film, man!
It's amazing. It's a great film.
This film does get a bit ridiculous.
Oh, but
it
you know what?
embraces
It's a
it.
fucking fantastic, just ridiculous film.
Yeah.
That I could probably go and watch again tonight
Yeah.
and still laugh in the same parts.
Yep. Well, I watched it this morning. I could do exactly the same.
The whole Jeremy Renner being like some kind of ninja for no reason.
Yeah.
He doesn't have any training. He's just a ninja, and he starts throwing those donuts, and I'm like, you're like thinking, how is he so accurate with those donuts? And then even in his own head, he goes, how am I so accurate with these donuts?
Yeah.
And I'm like, sold.
What was great as well is every time he went into this he's approaching from the rear, and it was like, and it was an arrow, so it was like, that's still Hawkeye reference.
Oh,
But what's also funny about this is Jeremy Renner has done loads of action films. He's Hawkeye. He's been in Mission Impossible. He's been in other things. Did he do Born Identity? He did a Born Identity film.
He did Born
something.
Legacy?
Yeah. And in a film where he plays a game of tag, he breaks his arm.
Oh, did he break his arm, mate?
You know when he did the chair trick?
Oh, did he actually do that?
He actually broke his arm during that film. So he does all these stunts and everything. He does a lot of his own stunts. So in the film where he is actually just playing a game of tag, he hurts himself. But it's just the cast in it is great. Like they've got
casting's brilliant.
I think Ed Helms plays an Ed Helms character. He's the same character in everything.
Well, no, he's not. He wasn't in Jurassic Park. He's playing his not Gone Girl character.
Wasn't in what?
Jurassic World.
Ed Helms.
Oh, I'm not thinking of the wrong person. Yeah, I know.
Ed Helms, Andy from The Office.
Yeah.
He's in Hangover.
I'm thinking of...
He plays the same character in everything. Yeah.
Yeah, he does. He does play the same character in everything. But again, I sometimes get annoyed with him in other films. I didn't get annoyed with him in this one.
Yeah.
And then the plot twist at the end of this film, with regards to him,
it's
as
a really miserable plot twist.
It's a really miserable plot
actually
twist.
really happy. So it turns out
it turns out really nice.
Yeah, the reason he was so adamant about we have to go and get him this year is because he's dying.
Yeah, he
It's
may
like-
not.
He's potentially dying.
The whole revelation of that comes from this, where you are literally... There is part of you thinking, this film really has taken a dark turn with them using a miscarriage as a trick. And the fact, it would be like, if say us playing it, and then you following someone on, because you liking people on Instagram and that, and finding I had my wedding without you to just win a game.
Yeah.
And it was like...
I wouldn't put it past you.
I wouldn't lie about that. But it's just like... And then the whole reaction of when they're walking up and she's just like, hi! And it's like... And then when he's going, I don't want you to have a miscarriage, but if you were to ever have a miscarriage... That's the universe telling you, fuck you. But it's... And then it's like, they've done this, and it's like, at this moment, you don't like Jeremy Renner's character. There's like... I didn't actually dislike Jeremy. I just was like, he's a fucking badass. He owns this town. And then it starts getting... It's like the third quarter of the film. He gets a little bit sad because the reporter asks, but you're not as close with... What's his name? Jeremy Renner's character?
That's a good point. I didn't say anything I didn't pick up was the names of the films.
Yeah, I didn't pick up the name of the characters apart from
the
Bob.
character, sorry,
because who wants to have sex with a guy called Bob? Oh, Bob. But there's some weird cameos of people that have very small roles in this film as well.
Go on.
Like, again, I don't know anyone's name.
Thanks for
For God's sake,
learning something.
the girl that's basically seeing Bob and the weed guy.
It's not a cameo. What? She's a proper character. She puts in Parks and Rec. Rashida Jones.
Yes, and she wrote Toy Story 3.
She wrote Toy Story 3.
Well, she Yeah, she helped with writing Toy Story 3. She was one of the writers at Toy Story 3.
Right. Okay.
You didn't know that? Oh, are you checking that?
You're giving that a check, yeah. But yeah, it's
It's just fun. It reminded us a little bit of us.
Yeah. Doing things that we were doing.
She co-wrote Toy Story 4, not 3.
Oh, okay.
But still, he got the Toy Story bit right, and
That's
the
good.
writing.
If she's got anything to do with writing it, then it's going to be funny. She's really funny, really funny actress. Yeah.
But
it's a fun film. It will make you laugh. There's great twist.
It makes you kind of realise, like, all these characters are going through that thing of like, oh, they're all good friends all the time, and then they're all growing up.
They're all successful. Apart from one, they're all very successful.
They're all going their own separate ways, but they have this one thing once a month where, like, we do this once a month. It kind of really makes you realise, oh shit, like, that could happen to us at some point.
Yeah.
Well, the montages in that film are amazing. It makes you... The character development in this film gave you a 30-year friendship. Like, there's the whole school thing where he's beating them on bikes. He's really fast.
Yeah. He is really fast.
And then it's like he's interviewing for a job as a janitor, and he's like, but you're a paediatrician and all this.
Yeah. He had a veterinary.
Okay, and he's doing this interview. He's a CEO of a very wealthy company who carries a lot of money around on him. And this kid is going in, and he's not a horrible boss. He's not a horrible person. He would have been like, you're fired or something. He's not like, get out, you're fired. He's just like, excuse me, this is the boss. And then it's like, hi, Bob. And he's like, oh, crap. And then he doesn't
of the chair.
And he doesn't even think about it. He goes, you can't escape. I've got the door blocked. So he's like, we'll see about that. He picks up a chair of his own company and throws it and knocks him out. And he's just like, ooh, are you okay? You're done running, aren't you? Yeah.
I just like how that perfectly sets up how serious this game is. From big moment, screw the big moment, we've got a game of tag going on.
Yep.
And it's a true story as well.
Well, the tag part is a true story.
Yeah, the game that these people played for like 30 years is a true story, and you see bits at the end of them.
Yeah, you do. That's
that they filmed on the phones. Obviously, there was no kind of... Probably the entire story is probably all made up.
Well, yeah, there was... the end game tag, there was about 10 of them, 9 of them.
Yeah, I think there was some
down
kids
to
in there.
5 of them.
Otherwise, it'd be too many of
But
them.
that first 15 minutes of that opening film, like the office bit with him trying to throw that chair.
I love John Hamm, man. John Hamm
I've just Googled his name. Chili,
Chili,
which was played by Jake Johnson. And he's just running through houses, but he knows all the people. So it's like, and they're not like screaming or anything. So it's kind of like making me think, he's done this before.
Yeah.
So he's gone around and says, just so you know, in May this year, I may run through your living room to get away. And it's the whole, are you okay? Are you okay? When he jumps off the building to get away.
Yeah.
He really doesn't want to be tagged. He's like, are you okay? Yeah. He went, well, you're not going to catch me. Just one thing, Chili.
I'm not it.
Who is? I am, motherfucker!
It was just such a... Because it reminds me, like, when you used to play games as a kid, you'd, like, play the game as a kid. And then when you play them as adults, you have more ways and means and money to be able to, like, increase the way that you... So I was watching this thinking, if this was us, I would absolutely be going to these lengths to try and... the bit where we go back to the bit where they fake the miscarriage.
Yeah.
But you don't know they're faking it. And, like, the characters all kind of huddle together, and some of them are like, oh, she's having a miscarriage, that's awful.
Chili.
And then others are like,
Chili.
I don't know. And I was like, that's exactly what it's like in my head when we play games that involve deceiving each other.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, is he? I don't know. It would be a pretty shitty thing to lie about, but...
It's so when her comment, when they actually get to the wedding afterwards... Yes, but you're still playing games like a kid. You need to play them like an adult.
Yeah. Alison Fisher's character in this movie, like, I don't think she had enough in it. Because she was Ed Helm's wife.
Yeah.
How she was just so violently, like, really into it.
She was so...
But she never overcrossed into the playing it. She was just, like, on the sideline, just like, get them, kill each other. And then her face when, like, they tag her and they're like, you're in. And she's like, her face lighting up was, like, one of the best, most, like, feel-good moments of the movie, where she's like, girls are included, great. And then she tackles Chili to the ground over a table.
You get too involved in... What did she say to him? I'm going to rub my tiny little ginger balls on your face. And I was just like, you're really into this.
Yeah.
When she's having that interview she's interviewing them and they're going past on the golf carts.
Yeah.
And she just stands up and starts shouting, "Go across these!" Yeah. Put your foot down, go across, go on!
Her introduction
Yeah.
in that film is just gives that whole interaction between Jake Johnson's character and her character, where she's like they're very close. You can tell they're very close by the interaction. He's like, "Oh, it's good to see you," and then he's just literally going, putting her arms across the door. She's leaning. She's got a stance, and he goes, "Where's Hoagie?" And it's like, I don't know what you're talking about. He's like, and he literally knocks her around. Knocks her around. And the thing is, she doesn't hold any grudge about it because she knows it's the month of May.
Yeah.
And he goes, "It's going down the east stairwell." It's like, "You're trapped."
Bleeding from the face.
Yeah. And he literally does turn around and go, "You okay?" "Fuck you, get in." It's just so happy. It does have a Home Alone-esque moment in the woods, though.
The film almost lost me there. I think that was where it started for me to get a little bit too over. But yeah, it was.
Well, there was
chloroform.
The only thing I would say that was a little bit overboard on that whole thing was the big log swing.
Yeah,
because
it wasn't.
The net was feasible.
It wasn't like
chloroforming his mate, because all he does is scare him and he scream and get tied to a tree. But he killed Chili, essentially.
He set that up. When did he set that up? How? Because that was.
How would he know he'd jump on that log?
That was a wedding venue, not his homeland or anything like that. Yeah. It was good. Tag was definitely better than Game Night. Both of them are like all right. No, Game Night's all right. Tag is phenomenal. Tag is like a really good. Even though it tackles some kind of sad things, it does it in a really good way.
Yeah,
really.
The whole ending was a nice touch, and then the montage of the actual people. Was nice.
The realization that this actually happened, and
it's just like that people have actually, and they were a lot older than they were in the film.
They've been playing it for 30 years. In the movie, they'd only been playing it for like 20 years. So.
Yeah, they were a lot older in the film, but the whole thing where he's in the shower, he's like, "You fucker!" It's like he looked over to all them and. The things that they took from the film, like the whole part in the mall, where he's
with
doing the old
lady.
woman, and he's like, and it's literally 6 cents, size 9 sneakers, cheap. Guy doesn't have any fashion sense, but a guy actually did that. I dressed up as an old woman and ran over and tagged his mate.
Yep,
it's great. I really enjoyed it, and I think there's only one other film that's made me feel like that, and it's Fanboys.
Blimey, yeah. Oh, we might do that one day.
Yeah.
For next week's film, I decided to contact some of our kind of people who have listened on YouTube and made some comments and kind of ask them for some suggestions. And they've between about 8 or 9 people have collectively come up with our film this week, which is on Netflix. You'll be glad to know.
Okay.
And they've picked it because it's a lot different from what we usually watch.
Okay.
And it's about two very stubborn, very passionate characters coming head to head. There's no action, there's no comedy, there's none of the kind of usual stuff we have. It's a movie called Whiplash, about the drummer, Miles Teller, and the guy who plays Jonah Jameson in Spider-Man. I can't remember his name.
Really? Because he's
really famous.
J.K. Simmons?
J.K. Simmons, yeah. So the pair of them, so J.K. Simmons plays this music instructor in college.
Yes, I have heard of this film.
Yeah, and Miles Teller plays this up-and-coming drummer. Miles Teller wants to do really well. J.K. Simmons wants his band to do really well. And they both just butt heads. And it's all about kind of these two acting off each other.
All right.
I've seen it. It's very good. It's, for John's sake, it's an hour and 45 minutes. So it's normal movie length.
It's not too long.
So we're gonna watch Whiplash. It's gonna be a bit different from what we usually do, but it was chosen by the people who listen to us. So yeah.
Okay. Just looking at that, it might be a kind of film that I will enjoy. Anyway. I think because I've seen this, and I think watching it, I found the characters to be very unrelated. I couldn't relate to these characters because of some of the decisions they make are so off the wall. Yeah.
I don't want to spoil it, but some of the decisions they make to get to their destination, to get to where they want to be, are so off the wall. It became like I was watching this fascinating car wreck from the outside.
Yeah.
I was watching these people do stuff that I would never do, no matter how much I like something. So yeah, that's next week's film, Whiplash.
Awesome.
We haven't got a topic yet for next week because Mike's coming back and we'll probably have something sorted out. So it's time
Fantastic.
for John versus everybody else.
Well
And
done.
for our character
Welcome for
of this
going up.
week.
2 points, because I never get these.
So, are you ready?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I'm ready
Yeah.
to fail.
First word, red.
Okay.
Seashells. Third word, hoarder.
Ariel, the Little Mermaid.
That's the one. Fantastic, right.
Thanks for the 2-0 lead. You are very welcome.
So it's 2-0 to John.
It will last all of 3 weeks.
We're going to be watching Whiplash as chosen by our audience this week. I couldn't decide on my own movie, so I thought I'll ask everyone else. So Whiplash
Fair
is
enough. chosen
chosen by 8 or 9, I can't remember now, sorry. 8 or 9 of our regular viewers on YouTube. And then we'll see you next week for more Overthinking at Overthinking Media.